Happy Monday, my friends. We are back. How did March Madness treat you guys? The opening weekend is done. The 4 days of games all day, all night. We finally get a little bit of a break. So we're going to talk a little bit of NBA action and then also a recap of how March Madness has gone thus far for me. Let's get into it. This is the Free Three, and let's cook up some winners today.
I love it, Noble. Noble, I also love your YouTube videos. I watched them while I was gone. That was fire.
But getting paid because yesterday we had a full sweep. Mike going under, that was just icing on the cake. Why are we going to go in such a weak AFC South? Unless we have the NBA Blowout Association.
Bang! Knicks take a 1-point lead with 13 seconds.
When you hear the sirens, you know what that means.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
Good morning, my friends. What is up? It is your boy Noble Living back with another DYF Bets video where I'm breaking down my favorite picks and plays of the day as we just try to get to the bag together and make that money. Do appreciate you guys for tapping in this morning. You can see from the backdrop, we are back in our lab. Over the weekend, we had the great opportunity of going down to the Hard Rock Casino there in Tampa, Florida. That's like the closest casino to me with like a sports book. That's still like a kind of cool city. I could go to like Cherokee, North Carolina. I could go to Biloxi, Mississippi. Those are all like within driving distance, but I decided to go down to Tampa, and it was a pretty good, pretty fun experience to kind of get to gamble the first few games of the NCAA tournament in person. I've always made it like a bucket list item of mine. I still want to go to Vegas and do the opening weekend, but this year I really wanted to say, let's go to a casino, let's gamble the games in person. I do still do some things online, but let's see what the experience is like watching the games there, taking bets live, getting cashed out right away. So it was definitely a great experience, and the only thing about it was we didn't hit as much as we would have liked to. The beginning first 2 days of the tournament, if you guys tapped into the live streams that I had in the car, it just did not go the way I wanted to. I felt like I had some good reads. It was just up and down, up and down. And if you guys took all my bets, then we would kind of be like at like basically a break even. But the problem is I didn't give out all the plays that I took, or I didn't give out all my bets, and the ones that I did give out didn't do as good as I wanted to. And you got to be honest about that. So over the weekend here, we could see over the last 7 days, we're down a little bit, down about $535. But yesterday we were able to do pretty well, having a I don't know why I zoomed in like that, having a 4-2 day yesterday. So that's not too shabby. We're going to do a full recap of how we did yesterday. But let's look at some of the tournament picks thus far, and this will allow us to talk about some of the games. How have you guys enjoyed the games? Drop in the comments below what you guys been thinking about the NCAA tournament games thus far. We'll look at some of the picks that I've had over the weekend. We're not going to go into every single one, but we really had some bad breaks. If you could see here, let me see. Let's scroll to the last time that we had a video, which was, I would say, like Friday. So, okay, you can see here, our first 3-team parlay right here in the middle of the screen. We had Clemson in this one. McNeese upsetting Clemson. That blew that Thursday for me. I mean, just blew it terribly. Just so upset about that loss there. That you could see here that we had VCU on the money line. We got that wrong. We got Wofford first half right. Then we added another later evening parlay with UCLA and Kansas. We got that wrong. Shout out to Arkansas. We took Mizzou's team total over. We got that wrong. And then on Friday, we had Mississippi State. We lost that one. Got kind of lucky on the Vanderbilt bet, if we're being all the way honest. We got upset by Marquette. We lost on the Akron. So you can kind of see a trend here. When I did take underdogs, I lost. And then certain favorites that I did take, they lost. We were able to make up a little bit on this UConn Oregon parlay, but then we lost on St. John's on Saturday. So that was kind of like, you know, the story of the tournament for us. We got McNeese right under on Saturday. We did get Arkansas wrong on Saturday. We got Drake wrong on Saturday. The favorite parlay, we lose with the Lakers on Saturday. So that was kind of just like one game away, one bad read away. But throughout the tournament, there were other games, like yesterday, for an example, right? If I pull up how we did yesterday real quickly, you could see here that we went 4-2, right? So we opened the day with like a first half parlay with Florida, and this was a Maryland first half parlay, laid -130, that missed. But the all favorite bankroll builder of the day, yes, we needed a game win from Maryland to hit, but we were finally due, and we got it. So we were glad to get that one done. We took Baylor as the underdog, got that wrong, but we got Mississippi State right. So that was kind of like the story of our tournament thus far, right? So like some games, let's just say like my boy asked me about Colorado and Memphis. I told him I was going to take Colorado State in that game. I didn't give it out as a pick, but I gave it out. And I told my boy I was taking Colorado State. That hit, right? Another game that I'm trying to think of what else. Michigan, right? Michigan was another pick that I liked. Ref that bets, he's been killing it, man. This has been like a tournament that I know his betting style. I always know when he and I are on different college basketball plays, kind of similar to like Krabs, when like you can kind of understand certain people's styles or what games or what picks they're going to be on. And this has been a tournament that he's been crushing it thus far, at least in the first few days. So I started tailing him because the way I was reading it was like, I like these favorites, I like these underdogs, and I was just flip-flopped. And he was like fading all the plays that I liked. And sometimes it's like that, guys. But you have to be willing to adjust. You have to be willing to find your spots. We were able to grab the Ducks last night. I got them plus 4.5 here. I grabbed them at plus 10.5 on my books. So don't be afraid to grab live bets as well for you guys to be able to cash in. I know a lot of these games that I give out are pre-games. Lock it in the bet now, get the best number. But I also want you to know that, hey, like a lot of these times, if I can get Mississippi State at plus 12.5, if I like them at plus 5.5, I can take my plus 12.5. That's up to you on a bankroll management. But I do like the number, so I typically tend to take it. So for today, we have a few NBA games I want to talk about real fast. Just kind of want to talk about the tournament thus far. And before we talk about the NBA, let's kind of stay on the college tip real quick because we've had some great games. And we did have some futures that were pending here on the channel. I want to talk about those real fast so we can kind of get an update on how things have been going for us. So first, we took about 8 futures to make the Final Four. These were all before the tournament started. I didn't want to add any more futures until about this round. So we're going to talk about one today. We lost on Clemson. Obviously, that was the McNeese loss. We lost on Mizzou. We lost on Louisville. We lost on Mississippi State. We lost on Wisconsin. So all of our big kind of like underdogs lost. That's been that type of tournament. It's been a chalky tournament. Maryland is still alive. Houston is still alive. And Michigan State is still alive. So we're doing pretty decent here, right? And then to win the championship, our 2 picks of Florida and Houston are still alive as well. But I want to add one more future to this here, and it's a team that I think can shock some people. So let's look up the bracket real quickly of what we've been looking at here after the first round of games after the weekend. So we're now in the Elite 8. We have Auburn versus Michigan. We've got Ole Miss versus Michigan State. We've got Maryland and Florida. We've got Arkansas, Texas Tech. We've got Kentucky, Tennessee. We've got Houston, Purdue. We've got Alabama, BYU. We've got Duke and Arizona. Now, let's talk about like why we take some of the futures that we have and what we can hedge off of this real quick. So in this bracket, you can see we have Michigan State in the Final Four. Beautiful, okay? So we'd need a win, obviously, against Ole Miss and then a win against Auburn or Michigan. On this side, we really don't have anything left on this side. We had Wisconsin, we had Mississippi State, that lost. So at this point, we can chill on this side. As we scroll down, we still have Houston to make the Final Four and to win the national championship. So we're still good. It's not a cakewalk because obviously it's a 1, 2, 3, 4 region, but we're still looking pretty good. Plus value, there's a lot of opportunities we can hedge off of here. And then here on this side, we've got Texas Tech and Arkansas, and then we've got Maryland and Florida. And obviously this game right here, something's going to give. One team can make the Final Four for us. The other team can maybe win the national championship. So obviously the goal, we're going to be rooting for both of these teams. We're just going to bet that game as it is. So I want to add one more future right now, and I might add 1 or 2 more before Thursday. But the one future is going to be the one that I had inside of my bracket. If you tuned in on Friday or Saturday when I broke down my exact bracket because I wasn't able to get out my my prediction video in time, I want to take one more here to make the Final Four. And I'm going to scroll down, and I don't know if we're going to get it at the same odds value because, yeah, it's nowhere near. It's at 2,296 now. On my book, I was getting it at plus 600. So I will take a screenshot of it, and I'll send it in. Maybe Action has, we'll update these or something a little bit later. But I want to add Ole Miss to make the Final Four. Now, I know it's not this is a prediction I had before the tournament, and I want to stick by it because after what they looked like last night, listen, they're a tough out. They are a tough out. And obviously, we're going to probably say that Auburn is going to beat Michigan, even though I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk. And if we get a rematch of Auburn and Ole Miss, SEC foes, for the second, third time this season, I give advantage to the team that's lost them to the other times, and that's Ole Miss here. And we already have a Michigan State ticket here as well. So either way, we can now basically say we're going to beat Auburn, we're going to beat Michigan, we're good. The only problem with taking Auburn is we're not going to get value on Auburn to make the Final Four. The thing with Michigan is we have to hope they beat Auburn and upset somebody over here. So for me, to guarantee that we can really come out of this region with some type of profit, it's why don't we just take Ole Miss at plus 600? We have Michigan State at plus 500. We do need to get an upset over Auburn. Hopefully Michigan handles them before. Sorry if you have Auburn in your bracket going deep. I don't. So because of that, we can basically take a double shot here of trying to get to the Final Four. And now, when this game happens live, we also have an opportunity to hedge off of it. Hope this is making sense from a betting strategy standpoint. So that is the first pick of the day that we're locking in. It's going to be Ole Miss to make the Final Four. Shop around. I got mine at plus 600. And that is going to go in congruence with some of these. We got Houston, we've got Florida, and then we also have Michigan State, Houston, and Maryland left for the Final Four. All right. Now for today's action, let's talk a little bit about the NBA slate. A lot of games on today, which should be good. I'm excited to actually kind of just sit back and watch some NBA today without being distracted by other things. And the first bet that I'm going to give you guys is a total. And it's a total that's not necessarily making sense to me when I take a look at the lines and the numbers here. And we're going to go to this Brooklyn Nets and this Dallas Mavericks game. And I know this is an ugly game that you guys don't want to bet. But you can see here that we have Brooklyn as a 1.5 point favorite. And the line's hovering around 218.5, 219. If we go to Doink Sports and we take a look real quickly at the game overview, obviously both of these teams are dealing with a ton of injuries. Dallas, we know what their rap sheet looks like. It's ridiculous. And then on this side for the Brooklyn Nets, we see Cam Thomas out for the season. D'Angelo Russell's day-to-day. He should be playing today. So a few injuries on the Nets side as well. So what is the pick? Sorry for the darkness. I should change my lighting here. But so what's the pick of today? Okay, let's go to the over-under real quick. We've got a total of 109.5, like I mentioned. But the issue that I have here is this total is just a little bit way too low, and it's just not making sense. So if we have a total of 219.5, I want to get the colors up here real quickly, so give me 1 second. Okay, that's just the full. Give me 1 second. Just want to see if they will give us the okay. I'm trying to get the color for you guys, so this way you could just make the visual that much easier. I don't know why it's doing that, but let me see. Nets. Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. See if we click it this way. All right, it's not working. But anyway, we'll come back to that. So, but I'm glad I have this right here because we can look at this real quick. So first and foremost, if we look at Dallas, okay, in the 10 of their last 10 games, they've gone over this total of 218.5. They're averaging 243 points per game over the last 10 games. Meanwhile, for Brooklyn, over the last 5 games at home, they've gone over this number of 218.5, going over on average of an average of 229. So they're flying over the number. We're not talking about 220. We're not talking about 221. We're talking about 240, 230 here. So literally 10 points we're clearing this line by. Again, why is this line so low? If we look here real quickly at the specific game logs, for the Mavericks, they've gone over in 5 straight games. And we've seen high totals of 232.5 like against the Pistons, 227.5 like against the Pacers, 237.5 against the Spurs. Meanwhile, for the Nets, they've gone under in 3 straight games, but they've gone over in 2 of the last 3. And we can see we've had high totals of 220, 221. They played the same Pacers Pacers team twice, so you can take that with a grain of salt. And then also they went over 218.5, played the same Celtics team 3 days later, and then went under. So is that really a fair sample size as well? Because you're playing the same team within a very short time frame as well, which is a familiar opponent. So when you look at the numbers for the Mavericks, real quickly, look, I wish they can give us the green color here. You would see here that the last few game logs for them, 240, 266, 255 against the Sixers, 229 against the Rockets, 242 against the Spurs, 262 against the Spurs. So yes, they're banged up. Yes, they're injured. They're playing not a lot of guys. Maybe that means they're not playing defense. I don't know, but buckets is happening, and you're giving me 219.5. That doesn't make sense. Over the last 10 games, we're getting 243.5 is the typical total of their games. If we zoom out just a little bit and we look at it in a larger sample size over the last 30 days, the average goes down to 234 points per game. That's their total for the Mavericks. And if we look at this season, 231. So obviously a lot of those games were with Luka, with Kyrie, but that still tells you it's a higher scoring team. And then against Brooklyn this season, give me 1 second. You can see they played them back on February, and that game finished 119 to 107. That was a total of 226. So that game did go under because the line was set at 236.5, but this line is at 218.5. So again, just way too low of a number for me. Doesn't necessarily make sense. So we're going to go here to the NBA, and we're going to go we're going to go over in the Mavs and the Nets game, over 218.5 as our first best bet of the day. It's just way too low of a number. I know both of these teams are banged up, but I think that even leads to more points because you typically get to the NBA to score points, right? It's not like defense is really a thing anymore. So for me, I like that number. And then if we look at Brooklyn real super duper fast here, when I'm done talking about this bet, but you can see as well over the last 10 games on average, their games are finishing around 220 or so. So it's not, it's because of Brooklyn, but if you look at their opponents, like I said, Pacers twice, Boston twice, Cleveland, and then the game against the Warriors, the game against the Lakers, those are like the games that are going over, which is a very similar opponent to me as the Mavericks, okay? Second and final best bet of the day is going to be, because we also did the future today, so only two best bets. Just want to take a little bit light on the first day back in the NBA. It's going to be our builder lay of the day. I'm not going to pull up Doing Sports because I don't like the way it's making me look right now. It's really super dark, but this is the parlay, okay? Luka, 25 points. Kobe White, 20 points. Both of these guys have been absolutely hooping. Let's go to ESPN real quick. That might help us be able to do this real quickly. And we can go look at Luka's stats just recently on how he's been doing for this Lakers team. Obviously the Mavericks are looking like they got the worst part of the trade. But last game out against the Bulls on Saturday, he had 34 points. You can see against the Nuggets on Wednesday, he had 31 points. He had 21 against the Spurs, 33 against the Suns, the 45 against the Bucks. So he's gone over this number in 4 of the last 5 games. His line right now is at 27.5, 28.5. So I would take that line by itself. If we go to Fantasy Pros real quickly, we can go look and see what team gives up the most points per game to point guards and shooting guards. You could see, I think the Magic are, this is this season. I think we need to go like over the last 15 games. The Magic, you can see, are number 1 over the last 15 games, giving up the most points per game to point guards. Guess what Luka is? He's a point guard, 25 points, not asking for too much. Now, for the second guy we're going to go to is Kobe White. The Bulls were right there, so I can just click right here real fast. And we could take a look at what he's been doing in recent games, because he's been absolutely hooping as well, averaging 20 points per game that you can see, which is leading the Bulls right now. And then if we look at some of his recent game logs, 36 against the Lakers, 35 against the Kings, 24 against the Suns, 26 against the Jazz, 23 against the Rockets. And the most impressive part about all this is he did all of these on the road. So it's not like he's been able to do this at home. So for me, I think that I'm pretty sure the Bulls are at home. No, they're on the road against the Nuggets, and this is another road game. So why not just go for it? Why don't we go for a game that's with altitude? No Nikola Jokic in that game, so it's probably a game that the Bulls think that they can win. They've won 3 of their last 5 games, including back-to-back games against the Lakers and the Kings, 2 contenders. So that should give any type of young player confidence like Kobe White. So at the very least, we should get the volume, and 70%, 55%, 50%, 47%. So he's shooting the ball at a very efficient clip as well. So this is a quick little parlay for you guys. Kobe White, 20+ points. Luka, 25 points. I don't think I'm able to put it in on action like this just yet. When I did it on my book, I got to about -115 odds. So I can try to do it real quickly here. I'm definitely using the Mavericks looking for Luka. Huh, that's funny. I could try to do it real quickly here to see if they'll let me do it here on the stream. But on my book, like I said, we got to about -115 or so. All right, here we go, Bulls. And I also lean Nuggets -4 in this game. They're impressive 10-4 against the spread on back-to-backs. So they played last night, so that's another stat if you want. And the Bulls are a very beatable team. And if you're an NBA championship caliber team like the Nuggets, you're supposed to win the games when your star player is not there. Jamal Murray should be playing. Aaron Gordon should be playing. They're at home, so take that with a grain of salt, but I do like the Nuggets -4. So you see we get this at -110, even better odds value. So let's lock that in. Kobe White, 20 points, and Luka Doncic for 25+ points. So this is what we're going forward today. Actually, since I just spoken into existence, why don't we do that? Why don't we do a little money line parlay real quick? Because I wanted something to throw with the Dallas for tonight. We've been hitting on our one major hockey play for the day. We hit like 2 or 3 last week. So why don't we just go Nuggets money line and Stars money line. There's probably better favorites out there on the board to take than the Nuggets, but that gets us a +150. I'll do 3/4 of a unit on. Nah, don't be pussy. Let's go a unit. Let's go a unit. We're here. Gonna take the unit. All right, 3 bets for today. That's what we're doing. On the free 3, guys, we got Luka, 25 points. Kobe White, 20 points. We've got Mavs and Nets over 218.5. And then I also did a little money line parlay with the Dallas Stars and the Denver Nuggets. Here we go. My boy Team Comeback gave us a quick little gem here. Let me pull this up on the screen for y'all. Giddy triple-double is at +330. Lowest odds I've seen from all season, normally around +1,000 or more. Could be worth a sprinkle. I think that's a good read as well, bro. I really do. Josh Giddey's been absolutely in his bag, and he's one of the reasons why the Bulls are winning some of these games recently. So if we look at that real quickly on the stream, let's see what the odds. You said the odds are around like +3. Let's see, stat combos. No, that's not stat combos. That's offensive. Triple-double. But yeah, +330. That's not bad, man. Well, we can put down a quarter of a nickel. Let's put a little nickel on that, a little quarter of a unit down. I'm not opposed to that. See what that happens. It could be a higher scoring game. Somebody like Russ will keep him active on the boards as well. So I do like that. Worth a little sprinkle. So let's get into it, man. So that's what we're locking with for today, guys. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. And then, like, again, we do have our future on Ole Miss that might make the Final Four. I may add 1 or 2 more, but it's probably going to be a national champion future besides Houston and Florida. So we'll see. We'll take it from there. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all for tapping in this morning. Let's have a day. If you guys have any player props or any games that you like, shoot me a message. Let me know. I'd love to tell you guys. And as always, dictate your fate. Get to that cheddar. I'll be back in for tomorrow's video. And let's have a day. Later, gang.